Guys, hey guys, I'm super excited today. I have a great news. This is a question that I get all the time. Mimi, can you connect me with somebody that know insurance and can get me a great quote? So I have searched around and I have find the perfect guy for you guys. Either that you own a box truck or a semi truck or period, just be in a transportation. This guy got you. And what I love about him, he's gonna explain it. He work with different companies so he can get you the best and he's the best rate. So his name is Raymond. I have him with me today. So in case you don't know me, your host, I'm Mimi, and I specialize in helping people make a money in the trucking industry with or without truck. And that being said, I will bring everything that is wrong to make truck owner or anybody in the trucking industry the life a lot easier so we can all make more profit. So Raymond, can you tell what you can tell us about you?
Okay, thanks for
Mhm.
having me. First of all, I'm
You're
very happy
welcome.
to be here.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a trucking insurance agent. I specialize in trucking insurance. I only
Mhm.
quote trucking insurance, so I don't waste time doing everything else. So that way, I can know what I'm doing when it comes to trucking insurance. And
Mhm.
then also, I got a TRS designation, which is from MCEI,
Mhm.
and it's a course, kind of like a college course that you have to take. And if you pass it, you get to put comma TRS after your name, which means Transportation Risk Specialist, which refers to trucking and towing as well, but mainly trucking. And
Mhm.
less than 1% of insurance agents have that. And then my
Mhm.
company is Insurance Hub Levitt Agency. And if
Mhm.
you Google us, we got a 4.9 out of 5 rating. And
Mhm.
at this point, I think we got over 1,000 reviews. Last I checked, we were really close.
Mhm. You mind telling me and my listener how much coverage does a trucker really need?
That varies between their operations.
Mhm.
Most commonly, they're going to need a million liability and 100,000 cargo, and
Mhm.
then nothing else. And then physical damage for their truck if they want their truck covered for, depending on the value of the truck. Um, but it varies between operations. So for cargo vans, for example, to cross state lines, you only
Mhm.
need 300,000 of liability. And then for semi trucks, box trucks, you only
Mhm.
need 750,000, a million if you're hauling autos, but it also depends on their operation. Most operations are going to require 1 million. So if you're hauling general freight over
Mhm.
state lines,
Mhm.
most brokers, dispatchers, and Amazon Relay, they're all going to require 1 million auto liability. And then
Exactly.
Amazon Relay is going to require 1 million general liability. And if
Mhm.
you're a semi truck, Amazon Relay is also going to require 60,000 trailer interchange.
Mhm.
So it really varies on the operation.
Mhm.
What I would like to say is for people that call me, I'll ask them the right questions to determine the amount that they need, and I'll never short anyone coverage. What happens
Mhm.
to a lot of people is they try to go with the lowest quote, and it's the guy that just gave them the lowest coverage as well, and then they
Mhm.
find out that they need more coverage when they get loads. Your dispatcher or your broker asks for a COI,
Mhm.
and then when they get the COI, they find out you don't have enough coverage, and then they call
Mhm.
you and tell you need to hire your coverage, and then your price
Mhm.
goes up, and then it's not the best quote anymore. So it's very important before starting an insurance policy, you
Mhm.
thoroughly understand the coverage you're getting and you compared it to what you actually need, which is mainly determined by where you're going to get your business from.
Yes.
So, for example,
Exactly.
Amazon Relay.
Yes. So it.
That's just the most common example.
It depends the company you getting what the broker require for that load. So, but it's the way the 1 million, the 100 cargo. That's usually when you have that, you can pretty much work with 80% of
Mhm.
the people out there. So one education that I always, and I'm a dispatcher also. So we are a carrier and we are a dispatcher too. So one thing that we really struggle as a dispatcher and carriers is certificate holder. You can rely on that, right?
Yeah,
That's
I'm sorry.
That's a big issue because what happened most of the time, especially for the ass box truck owner, there is just few load out there, so you gotta be fast on the load. Sometimes the broker is willing to give you the load, but it take you forever to get in touch with the insurance company to make the certificate order to the broker and stuff like that. So by the time you come back, the broker is give the load to somebody else. And so how you guys, what do you do to make people life easier with the certificate holder business?
Yeah, I can answer that. So we actually have one of the best things in the world. We have a website that our clients can go to, and then
Mm-hmm.
they'll have their own login information, and there's a master certificate. And what happens is
Mm-hmm.
the first option that comes up when they log in is going to
Mm-hmm.
be, do you want to make a certificate? And then they'll click make a certificate. And then all they'll do is they'll put in the certificate holder information and then the email address, and they'll click a send button, and it will send the certificate to the email address that they input from our agency's email. So as if it was sent from us, so that way
Mm-hmm.
they don't have to wait for us to send it. Because a lot of brokers are going to want it sent from the agent and not the actual client.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mm.
and and that's very important feature. Every one of my clients appreciates it a lot, and then the ones that have been in business and now have it that didn't have it in the past, they tell me like, I wish I had this 6 years ago.
Where
So
you have been?
yeah, exactly. and,
Yeah, I know. As a
and
dispatcher is a nightmare, and especially when you're working with box truck, because the box truck load goes so fast, so
mhm.
you can waste the time. Sometimes I would take the owner 30 minutes holding on the line, and then after they would tell him, "Oh, give us some time to do it." So it takes some time between at least 1 to 2 hours to get a certificate holder. And
Yeah,
first, for the newbies that or the one that work with Amazon only, can you a little bit explain what is a certificate holder before
yeah,
asking more
that's
question about it?
that's a good question, and I'd like to add some additional information about the certificate holder since we're talking about it. I
Mhm.
recently worked with a client who had an agent, and the agency was in Nevada in Las Vegas. So the agent was never around, and he needed certs. And
Mhm.
he said sometimes he had to wait till the next day to get the cert. He would call his agent, leave an email, and he wouldn't get it. And he would miss loads because of that, which is really
Yes.
disruptive to his business.
Mhm.
And he can't, sometimes you can't really do anything because if your current insurance company has the best price, you
Mhm.
can't just switch to a new agent until your renewal. So sometimes you're locked in that agent for a whole year, and if the agent isn't attentive, then you're
Mhm.
just
You
in a bad
stop.
position. And that's why
Mhm.
one of the most important things before making a decision of who your agent's going to be, and I think this is the most important thing out of everything, is to check the agency's reviews and quantity, quality, and total rating. So you want them to have a high rating, and then also to make sure that the reviews are related to trucking insurance and they're not just reviews from their car insurance clients. You want an agent that specializes in truck insurance. So that's very important.
Or
And
yes.
then you asked me to explain it to people who are new. So if you're just starting off as a new business,
Mhm.
certificate holders and COIs, certificates of insurance, are going to
Mhm.
be the most important thing in your business. And you might have never heard of it. It's a simple concept though. When you pick up a load from a company, they're going to
Mhm.
want to make sure you have insurance. And they want to also make sure that you're not sending them fake paperwork. So they're going to want a proof of insurance to protect them so that
Mhm.
they know that if you get into an accident, their load's covered. So almost every time you get a load, they're going to ask you to get a certificate of insurance emailed to them from your agent with
Mhm.
their name basically as a header. A certificate holder, think of that as a header, with their name
Mhm.
as a header on the certificate of insurance. So you're going to need certificate holders a lot,
A
and
lot,
it's
yeah.
and it's very important. So if you don't get them at a good speed, your business is going to be in a tough situation. And unfortunately, it does hurt a lot of people when they have an agent that doesn't know what they're doing. For
Yeah.
example, you have your car insurance agent that never sold trucking insurance, and you call him and tell him you want trucking insurance, and he goes like, give me a few days to figure out. He comes back, maybe he figures it out, maybe he gets you the right coverage, but then he's really bad at sending you certificates, and he doesn't have an application that allows you to send it anytime you want. you're just gonna miss loads.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, and I've seen so many times missing on a load because of that. So does the certificate holder, let's say, God forbid, there is something that happened to the cargo, would that certificate holder give them a right to call or claim something on the insurance?
Yeah, so when
Okay.
someone's a certificate holder, they can call the insurance. The other thing about the certificate holder, when
Mm-hmm.
someone's a certificate holder, it puts them on notice of the insurance if it cancels. So it also allows them to know if your insurance cancels, so that way they stop giving you loads. So it's very
Exactly.
important to the companies.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So because sometime when it happen, the truck owner will ghost them, but that give them a right to contact the insurance and file a claim for the cargo part of what is for the cargo. So yeah, so definitely cover them. So so basically, people can go and fill up the form, and it will send the certificate to the broker from you guys' emails, and it just like they get a login and everything. So my next question is: would that be an extra cost to the truck owner?
No,
That for
it's free to get certificate of insurances. And then the application that my agency made so that people can get it just like that instantly,
Mhm.
we don't charge for that either.
Okay, all right. That's wonderful. So now, how when because this is my question. I'm like, if somebody is working with an agent that is not quite either because they're not doing good with you, but maybe it's because they don't know the thing or they're too busy to assess the client. So how somebody can switch and come to you guys?
With depending on the insurance company, the insurance companies have their own rules.
Mm-hmm.
Most insurance companies will allow you to switch 60 days before, sometimes even after the renewal. Or
Okay.
if you just started the policy, they'll let you switch within the first 60 days. So it varies by the insurance company. With Progressive, you can technically switch anytime, but the
Mm-hmm.
new agent won't have full access until the renewal. So
Okay.
it really varies. The best bet is if you don't have a good insurance agent and you want to switch, I guess your best bet is to call me and ask.
Oscar, okay. Yeah, because I was like, okay. So what about the case? Let's say our trucking company, our insurance is Progressive right now,
Yeah.
but the engine that we got, we want to get with you.
Mhm.
But chances are that if we get it with you and it's gonna end up being Progressive still, would we be able to switch to you guys?
Oh yeah. So just to clarify, when we're talking about switching,
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about just switching the agent but keeping the same insurance company. That's when
Oh,
you, yeah, that's when you got to do it within 60 days of the renewal. But
okay.
if you're switching to a completely different insurance company, let's say you're sick of Progressive and not just the agent, then
Mhm.
you can switch at any time. Some insurance companies will have something called a minimum earned premium,
Mhm.
and usually that's 20%. The highest I've ever seen it is 40%, which basically means you can switch insurances once you've completed at least 20 or 40% of the policy. So 2, 3 months on average.
Okay, great information. So we can still keep Progressive, but just switch agent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So my next question is, can you a little bit elaborate on how much is a trucking insurance usually cost?
Just like
Mhm.
coverage varies by operation,
Mhm.
that basically varies by operation too. I've
Mhm.
like if you're gonna be hauling hazmat and you're a new business, it could be between 40 to 50,000 for the year, which is
For
very
the year.
expensive. The
Yeah, I can.
insurance, and that's because the insurance companies don't even want to provide insurance for that. So, for example, Progressive won't insure that at all. They'll tell you to find a different insurance company. Or if
Mhm.
you're doing UIIA, intermodal hauling, Progressive
Mhm.
won't insure that either. So Berkshire will insure that. They average probably around 30,000 for that coverage, for that type of coverage. But then you got operations where maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're hauling, maybe you're
General
just,
goods,
yeah,
just.
the general goods policies average at about 24,000 a year for new businesses, but they can
Mm-hmm.
be higher. So like if you got a single accident on your record, for example, I'll use Progressive for this example, they'll
Mm-hmm.
charge between 8 to 15,000 more for the year just for having one accident in the past 3 years.
Yep.
So it does vary big time. But then if you're doing a small operation where you're just a cargo van
Mm-hmm.
and you're
Workshop.
going, yeah, if you're just a cargo van, it might be between
Mm-hmm.
8 to 15,000 for the year. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
box trucks get prices between 17 to 21,000. So it,
Mm-hmm.
it does vary big time.
It
But
does.
yeah, the goal
It
the goal is always to get the best price. And
the
and as a
best.
new business, it can be difficult. Prices usually drop by the second and third year.
Mm-hmm.
They if you run perfectly, they'll drop by half. But if there's any violations or
Insurance
if there's an accident,
accident.
yeah, the insurance company will, basically they'll use that against you and your price won't go down or it might not go down as much.
No, I don't. Yes, yes. That's what I tell people usually. I'm like, if you're trying to get in that business, clean your record and stuff like that. Is there some way they can try to take some classes so they can clean up their record? Or
They can't clean up their record unless they fight it in court at the time of the accident or
oh,
ticket.
okay. Mm-hmm.
But I have had plenty of clients that wanted to start their own trucking business. They wanted to drive, they got their own truck, and
Mm-hmm.
in some cases they had a terrible record. Like I'm not going to put any names out there, but for example, I had a client with two improper turns where you ignore a traffic signal, and he had an accident as well and a speeding ticket. So
Mm-hmm.
Progressive was quoting him 70,000 a year. Obviously, that's not going to be affordable. You'll
Yeah,
probably go negative rather than profiting. So
exactly.
he's like, Graham, what should I do? I already bought the truck. I said, look, I mean, you, you can drive for someone else if someone will hire you. He's like, no, I already tried that. No one will hire me. I said, okay, so all you have to do in this case is just hire a driver and just, I guess, be a owner manager, but you're not going to be able to drive until your record cleans up. He found a good driver with a clean
Mm-hmm.
record in the same state he's in. He hired
Mm-hmm.
him, and we got him
Mm-hmm.
an insurance quote for 28,000, which is significantly better. And he
Oh,
went with
we're
that.
better.
And yeah,
70 to 28, way
yeah.
better.
And then so sometimes you just got to think out of the box. And if your record's poor and you still
Mhm.
want to be a business owner and you got a nice truck, just got to hire someone to drive it that has a clean
Okay.
record.
Oh, so I was thinking, so Dana, I was wrong. So I was thinking the owner record manually is what determined, but so when you have a good driver with a good record, that can help you drop the rating.
For a lot of insurance companies, they
Mhm.
will only take drivers into consideration. Some insurance companies will have random rules where
Mhm.
if the owner has a CDL, he has to be listed on it as a driver. But some insurance companies will let you exclude the owner, and then if the
Mhm.
driver has a good record, it will only focus on the driver's record.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. So I see you talking about like lot of insurance. So let me understand. Do you work just for one specific insurance company or you guys shop around to get the best deal?
We do shop around and get the best deal. We
Mm-hmm.
quote for over 60 different insurance companies. Obviously, we're not going to like quote everyone at every single insurance company. It varies based off the state and operation. We'll know which ones to quote. For
Mm-hmm.
for most people that call us, they we usually have a handful of insurance companies, like 5 to 7 that we know could have the
Mm-hmm.
best price for them, and we'll shop around at all those.
Okay.
Mm.
And so based on if it's the operation is new or so what can be a
So some
company for a
factors,
new somebody who's starting new.
yeah, some factors
Mm-hmm.
that that help us decide which insurance companies to check because we're gonna know all their target markets by heart and all their rules and rates. Um, some factors are gonna be whether the MC, the operating authority to go over state lines, is new or whether it's been in business for a few years. The owner, whether he's a driver or not, and
Mm-hmm.
then his years of experience, the driver's amount of years of experience, how clean their driving records are, how clean the operating history of the MC number is, if there's any claims, if there are, how severe they are, and if they were at fault or not at fault. Some insurance companies will charge every claim against you. Some
Mhm.
insurance companies will only charge the ones that you're at fault for. So we'll know based off all the information that we collect.
Okay.
We'll ask a ton of questions to get the important information. We'll know which insurance companies are going to potentially have the best price, and we'll check them out.
Yeah, that's definitely good that you work with or about 60 of them. So it give you, who to send people and how they can save. So I get this question a lot. I'm looking, even today, I was on two or three other Facebook group other than mine. I see people asking, oh, can I get another? I need another insurance company because the one I'm working with is this and that. So definitely, this is gonna be a good plus for my the listener and stuff like it. That so one more other question is what I think maybe you already answered that. I wanted to why the pricing is so high for trucking. I
Yeah,
mean, that's the
I,
biggest headache for us.
I did kind of answer that, but yeah,
Yeah,
I can go into better detail. So
yeah.
so it does, insurance companies unless they're non-admitted or B-rated or lower, or their specialty lines, insurance companies, and by the way, we only rate for great A-rated insurance companies. So we only quote
Okay.
for the best insurance companies. But
Mhm.
and these insurance companies have to file their rules and rates and their algorithms with the State Department of Insurance.
Mhm.
And and usually what causes it to be high is the main thing is going to obviously be violations and claims. And a lot of these truckers, they don't
Mhm.
understand, going into as a new business, they don't understand how important violations are, nor do
Mhm.
they understand what will cause them. And one of the most common things I see
Mhm.
is violations for the ELD, which is,
Wow.
yeah, which is very unfortunate because then, I mean, to me it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but obviously insurance companies and the government care about it significantly. Three
Mhm.
violations for the ELD can cause your insurance rate to go up by a lot. So to not get
Wow.
violations of the ELD, you have to make sure your ELD is properly operating. You log
Mhm.
every trip. You don't
Mhm.
drive for 11 hours, and you got to keep
Mhm.
an instruction manual in the truck. If you don't do one of those, you're eventually going to get some violations for the ELD, and it's really going to hurt you. And
To
that's the most common thing I see happen to
avoid.
people to raise their price, and they
Mhm.
don't expect it. They think they're doing good, and then they get some violations for the ELD, and it hurts them. So I always stress that out to someone that I sell.
Mhm.
Make sure that you know what you're doing when it comes to ELD, because
Yeah.
it's really serious to the insurance companies and to the government.
Wow. I didn't know that. One thing that I got aware about it was when we had to renew our second year our insurance.
Mhm.
We had an increase of 800 because my those DOT inspection, the random inspection on the road.
Yeah.
So he got pulled over for that. He did not get a ticket,
Hmm.
but he just who knows that insurance would raise
Yeah.
the price
Sure.
for that. I'm like, it's just a
Exactly.
random. We didn't do
Ex-
nothing to be pulled
exactly.
over.
Exactly. They'll pull you over. They won't give you a ticket. They won't
Uh-huh.
even tell you that they hit you for some things. They'll hit, and like I said, the most common thing is going to be the ELD. They won't even tell you. They might make a comment. Do you have the ELD instruction manual? You'll tell them no, and they'll just be like, okay. They'll just walk away and won't tell you anything. But they'll write you up for it, and it will cause your insurance to go up. So it's very serious. And
I
and
think
other
that's the
facts.
ELD because that time, one of the inspection it was that day my husband ELD wasn't working properly and he really done
That's
everything
that's a
to
seven
fix
point
it.
violation.
So the policeman even he called the ELD company, talked to the policeman, they could not fix it. But that guy, oh, so that's probably why. Because we were surprised. I'm like, how a random DOT inspection affect our insurance rate? So it was the ELD thing.
You see, the first thing I mentioned happened to you. It's the most common thing. Okay. Other
Yeah,
thing,
we
yeah,
struggle a lot. This business, there is a lot of money, but you gotta careful. Like think you can go on the other side from like in just a heartbeat because 800 extra. So instead of we were paying like 1200, no, 900, and when our insurance went to 1700. So
Yeah.
that's a
Yep.
big difference for a
Yep.
small business.
They
Yes.
take the ELD violations very serious, which is
Seriously.
unfortunate. I think it's ridiculous, but it is what it is. So what you got to do is you just got to know what you're doing with the ELD. It's the most
Hmm.
common thing that I see causing people's price to go up.
Okay. All right. And is there other thing that people gotta pay attention to or careful about so that can help us, anything that help them and get a lower
There,
insurance rate?
yeah, there are some other things. It depends on the type
Hmm.
of business too. So one of the things that raises people's prices, and
Hmm.
this is crazy, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Insurance companies will hire your price if you have drivers from multiple different states. They want all the drivers from the same state to give you a discount. And then
Hmm.
if they're in the state that you operate, that your business is registered in by address, they'll also give you a discount for that. So for example, with Progressive, if you start a business in Virginia and you have
Hmm.
all Virginia drivers, and once you add a new driver from, like, let's say Maryland or Connecticut, the price usually goes up by 1,500 a month for that first driver that's out of state, which is
Yes.
insanely high.
We run into that too because our truck was working, one of our truck was working in North Carolina. So we had to hire a driver from there.
Hmm.
So the price for that driver for the insurance for that truck was totally different from the truck we were running in Georgia.
Yeah,
With like two truck in Georgia, we were paying as to insure the two truck. It was almost the same that
yeah.
one truck in North Carolina.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
exactly. And it's really unfortunate because,
Hmm.
to the average person, to me, that makes no sense. Like, why does it matter where I hire drivers from? But, apparently to insurance companies, that causes more claims and that causes bigger claims based off of statistical data. So if they have the data to back it up, I guess they have the data to back it up. But
I
yeah,
know.
charge
We
more
just
for
have
that.
to pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Raymond, really, those was a great information. I really learned a lot of stuff, and I know my listener they will learn from there. And how can they get in touch with you? I'm gonna put your number under the video in the description, but can you what you can tell us more?
Yeah, the best way is probably going to be to call me. I mean, I
Hmm.
do work a lot. I answer the phone
Hmm.
probably 100% of the time. I work the weekends at some weekends too. And
Okay.
then I also receive texting on the number. So people
Hmm.
are free to text me if they want to text me before calling or if they want to text a simple question. And
Okay.
then if they want to email me, they can email me as well. I'll give you my email. You can put that in the video as well.
Okay.
Those are going to be the best ways to contact me.
Okay. We'll also put a link for them to fill out,
Oh
put
yeah.
their name and phone number and an email so you can get back with them because, sometimes life get you,
Exactly. We do
you
got a
get busy.
form as well that they can just fill out online, and then
Hmm.
we'll receive it once they fill it out. We'll call them back at our convenience or whenever they
Okay.
want us to.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So usually take how long it take for you to get a code for somebody and get them insured.
That does vary as well,
Okay.
but most of the time it's instantly. But I'll talk to the client and ask them questions, and based off their operation and what they're looking for, we can discuss that because some
Hmm.
insurance companies, for example, I'll
Hmm.
use I'll use Canal as an example.
Hmm.
Canal takes a minimum of 3 days to get a quote back. So my process is to fill out a form and application for
Hmm.
the client who's looking for insurance to get a quote from Canal, and I
Hmm.
send it to Canal, and then they have multiple underwriters that review it, and
Okay.
then they go over acceptability, and then they manually rate it, which takes some time, and then they return to me with the quote, and then I go over it with the client. So that takes a minimum of 3 days. But then, like Berkshire and Progressive, I can
Hmm.
quote that within 1 hour.
Okay. All right,
So,
that's wonderful. So it depends what it indicates what
mhm.
it be the best insurance company for them. So based on that insurance company, each of them got their own timing and stuff like that.
Yeah, and most of the time I'll tell the client right away. I know for a fact Progress
Mhm.
is going to be the best. The good news is I can get you a quote in less than an hour, and then we'll go from there. And sometimes I'll know right away. I'll tell them, look, Canal or Tip National are going to be the best. Like Tip National usually takes a week, which is unfortunately long, but sometimes I know they'll have the best prices. So I'll tell them, look,
Mhm.
I know Tip National is going to be the best.
Mhm.
Sadly, you're going to have to wait a week, but it's going to be worth the wait.
Okay.
So
All right. Okay. So, is there anything else you want to add to this before we wrap up?
you know,
Because that was all the question I got for you.
I think we covered everything that would make me happy to cover. But I will say everything. One thing, I love truckers, and that's why I'm in this industry.
Okay.
Mm.
Wonderful. Yeah, we love you guys too. The one that get us the best coats. And especially I'm gonna come back to it again, the certificate holder. Oh my goodness, that's what it sell your program to me, because as a dispatcher is a headache for the courier, is a headache to do the back and forth and miss on the load. But definitely you guys have the best thing is a portal that they can go and fill up and get the form
Exactly.
right there. So that's the big plus. And you work with a lot of other companies. So definitely you guys, if you need insurance, Raymond is your guy. Call him or text him and talk to him and see what he can do for you. So, Raymond, thank you so much for the great information and God bless you.
Thank you so much for having me, Mimi. God bless you as